Great, Ben. Thanks for coming on the line. It's great to see you again, virtually in this instance. I think one thing to kick off, it'd be great for our listeners to understand a little bit about yourself and Geeky Tech, and then we can go on to the questions we've got for today.
Sure. So Geeky Tech is a digital marketing agency who specifically focus on organic search. So we do touch on websites, but predominantly we focus around organic search. So SEO, really driving tech companies' traffic through online marketing.
Great. And what is SEO?
That's a very good question. So the first thing really, and is a good way of looking at it, SEO really isn't its own thing. So it's a massive industry and there's lots of factors to it and it gets very, very complex. But the great way to look at it is really, it's just the signals within Google's algorithm that help determine where a website will rank. So, you know, depending on the level of competition behind a keyword or whatever it is that someone might be searching, Google's going to use their algorithms to decide where, you know, a website should rank, where it should be placed. So SEO really isn't its own thing. You know, you can't buy a box or a SEO as a tangible thing. It's really the signals that Google's algorithms use to decide where it is that you're going to rank in the search results.
And so why do you really need SEO then to enable your business to grow?
Sure. Well, I mean, unfortunately, the reality of the internet at the moment is Google have a complete monopoly. So SEO typically refers to all of the search engines, but predominantly we focus purely on Google because it's literally where 90% of people are searching. So if somebody wants something nowadays online, they hit Google and there's a lot of competition in order to kind of meet that page one. So there are 10 positions typically on page one and everybody is in a fight for that. Something else to help kind of frame how SEO works is it's almost like a bit of a marathon. So just by having a website and being on the internet, whether you're involved or not, you will be doing some form of SEO. So Google will be looking at your site, they'll be judging you, and they'll be deciding where you come within the search results. And what it is that you need to do is you need to impact that, and that's important for your business to drive new traffic. So to get in front of people who aren't aware of you, and ideally the main goal is people searching for terms that are going to lead to a sale for your business who aren't yet aware that, you know, you guys exist.
Yeah, and there's two terms I've heard of a lot around intent and discovery or discover data. Can you tell me about the differences between those two?
Yeah, so people talk about, depending on who you speak to, different types of intent. So you'll often have what's referred to as like a brand search. So if somebody's searching for, you know, Geeky Tech, they already know who we are. They'll go to Google, they'll search Geeky Tech, they're looking for us, or, you know, Geeky Tech telephone number or NatWest telephone number or something like that. And then you'll get an informational search where somebody's really looking for information. So how do I do X? You know, how do I track Y? You know, what is, you know, X and Y? And then you've got the searches that we're focusing on, which are what I would call transactional. So where they've got transactional intent, which might be, you know, SEO company London, for example. You know, if you were looking for, it's very obvious, if you type that word, you physically want someone to solve that problem. So, you know, if you Google for, you know, CRM solution, it's highly likely that you're a business that's looking for a CRM solution. Now, if you Google, you know, a banking CRM solution or a CRM for banks, then, you know, the intent becomes even more relevant if you as a customer provide, you know, CRM for the banking service. So it's really about understanding exactly who your customer is, the words they use, the intent behind those, and then actually optimizing your content for Google to want to show you. Yeah,
that's very interesting. So tell me about how you do that, how you take an audit and you understand what your audience is searching for. What are some of those intent phrases or things that they're looking for?
Definitely. Well, the best place to start, if you've got a lot of data, so if your website has already been on the internet, the first place to start is Google Analytics, because within Google Analytics, you can also integrate Google Search Console, previously Webmaster Tools, and Google will actually show you the words that people are searching before they hit your site, or using Search Console, even in the particular results. So that's a good place to start if you've got existing traffic. So you can see, you know, and that you might look at that data and find actually we don't want to rank for any of this. So the way you do this is kind of a combination between working out who your customers are and then what people are searching for. And there's a few tools you can use to do that. So you can use the Google Keyword Planner, which is a free tool. So if you create a Google AdWords account, you can type in words to Google and they will tell you on average per month how many people are searching for that term. Now, it's a great indicator, but it's massively inaccurate. One of the best ways to do the keyword research is to actually type the word into Google yourself. You want to be able to quantify that other people are searching for it. So, an example I'll go on and show you in a second is when we're talking to clients and they ask, oh, how much is it? I would often say that it really depends on what it is you want to rank for. So the example I give is if you want to rank for underwater washing machine, we could do that this afternoon for 50 quid because there's just no competition. If you wanted to rank for payday loan, it's 2 or 3 years worth of work and it's going to be a real bloodbath because the competition is so high. So it's a real kind of mix of somewhere where people are searching, there's good intent, there's search volume, and also you still know that you're going to be able to compete. And one of the most easiest, obvious ways to do that without any fancy tools is to actually just type the word into Google and have a look at who comes up. If you type in your keyword and you've got bbc.com, followed by The Times, followed by Reuters, it's probably going to be quite tricky for you to make it into those top 3 spots. If you type the word you want to rank for into Google and you see your top 3 competitors, and there's a high chance that you're going to be able to compete with that particular ranking. And then if that word is likely to lead on to a sale, and a lot of that comes down to common sense. So we do a lot of work with IT companies, and I have to explain to them that you might sell computers or laptops, but that's not the word that you want to rank for. If 1,000 people are searching for laptop, if you do high-end IT support, that you do not want to rank for laptop, as an example. So, you really need to use common sense plus some data, and then really trial things. If you put content out online, you can very quickly, if you've got analytics and search console set up, you can create that feedback loop so you can see what's working and what's not.
Yeah, and I'll come back to that example in a bit because I would be interested to see, what the sort of 80-20 rule is with, creating websites and obviously ranking for those keywords. But
definitely,
it's about content. So a lot of people at the moment are creating a lot of content. They're writing blogs. They're taking interviews, maybe like this one, and sharing that with their audience on their website and probably on social as well. What are some of those tips and tricks that you could maybe pass on to people to expand the reach of that content, at least on a Google and organic level?
Yeah, definitely. Well, so the first thing is when you've got that kind of idea behind the content is to ask yourself, what would somebody be searching to find this as a solution? So where I would typically start is I would actually try and work out the keyword before I create the content. So I would ask myself, what are my customers searching? What are their problems? And you can sometimes achieve that through customer interviews, going through, why people have said no to proposals, and just really get that understanding of what it is your customer wants. And then if you create content around that, I can show you now, I'll jump on and do a quick screen share and show you some of the most important places to include that word. And basically, if you include the word that you believe people are searching for in the right place, providing there's not a massive amount of competition, you've got a very high chance of ranking for that, or at least picking up some traction for it. Because hitting the top of page 1 is great, but if you're starting out and it's very early days, some really long tail keywords where there's not a lot of search volume, but there's not a lot of competition, can still produce really good rewards. If you sell a high-end tech product and you pick up 5, 10, 20, 30 people a month, that can be, a fantastic return on investment for 1 or 2 pieces of content. Do you want me to jump in and show you those?
Yeah, that'd be great. Like you said, where those keywords are, maybe 1 or 2 tools that you can just sense check that you've got the right things. That'd be great, Ben.
Yeah, definitely. Let me put up a window here quickly. Okay, so I've got the example. So, this is a perfect example for this, really. So, I didn't ever, this was more recent, I ranked us for this, but if you were to Google underwater washing machine, now this would be completely useless because nobody's searching for underwater washing machines. It purely doesn't exist, which is why I use this example. But this is a brilliant example of showing you the bit that moves the needle in Google. So if you see we're ranking here #1 in the organic results, obviously there are some washing machines for sale, but the page that I've actually ranked here literally has nothing on it. So we have a title, which is underwater washing machine, and then literally 2 lines, you know, using a washing machine underwater would be an absolute nightmare. That said, I can't understand why someone hasn't invented it. So what I'm going to do now is just show you the bits that move the needle here, basically. So rather than like go into the code of the website, I'm going to use a free Google Chrome plugin. So I'm using Google Chrome. It's a free plugin. You can see me kind of hovering over it here, called SEO Quake. So SEO and then Quake. It's completely free. Click on that. And what this will do is it will show some really obvious on-page metrics. So you've got the option for page info, internal, external links, but I'm going to click on diagnose. And what this is doing is this is showing me the really important on-page metrics. So when it comes to SEO, there are kind of 3 main areas: strategy and keyword research, so understanding exactly what it is you want to rank for. And then on-page, so making sure you've got the right word on the page, which is what I'm going to run you through now. And then off-page is just external signals. So typically backlinks, mentions online, really third parties validating the claims that you're making. So if you include, once you've figured out exactly what it is you want to rank for, so using this terrible example of a keyword, underwater washing machine, if you include that keyword in your URL, #1, and then your meta title. Now, your meta title is the title that you see before somebody clicks through onto the page. So this is the meta title here. So the meta title for the page is underwater washing machines, and you've got -Geeky Tech. And then the meta description is just below this. So you want the keyword on the URL, the meta title. You don't actually have to have it in the meta description. The meta description is going to have no impact on your rankings within the search, apart from encouraging people to click. So if somebody's searching for an underwater washing machine, your meta description wants to say, we are the best underwater washing machine providers in the country. So it really encourages someone to click through, but it's not actually going to impact the search results. So you're summarizing again the URL, and then the meta title, which you're going to need depending on what you're doing. If you're in WordPress, you'll be able to add this using SEO Yoast or all-in-one SEO. But this is basically the meta title. And then the H1 tag. Now, the H1 tag, that wants to match the meta title. So you see my H1 tag and the meta title, and the meta title and H1 tag should be the same. That you have the option to make them different, but the meta title is like the title of the page off of the page, and then the H1 tag is like the title of the page on the page. So when Google comes over to your site, they look at the URL and they look at the meta title, which I just showed you, and then the H1 tag. You know, and as you can see, obviously there's not a lot of competition at all, but all I needed to do in this example was add the keyword in the URL, the H1 tag, and the meta title. And even without any content, that's been enough for the keyword to rank. Now, the 4th piece of advice I would give you would be to include the keyword within the first 100 words of the text, of the body text. So this is the kind of the structure of the page, H1 with H tags below it. The first 100 words of actual words, you really want the keyword if possible. And yeah, that's going to give you that is the kind of 80-20 rule, I would say, or maybe the 90-10 rule. You know, that's going to give you 90% of the results. You know, quick few golden tips on top of that is H2 tags and H3 tags and H4 tags. Use variations and synonyms of your keywords. So, you know, types of underwater washing machine comparison, you know, Toshiba underwater washing machine, or whatever it might be in that example.
Yeah, that's really good. And final question for me is, you know, if you could just choose 3 things to advise startups to do with regards to SEO in, say, the next 7 days, what would they be?
Ooh, 3 things. That's a tricky one. So if you're a startup, it would definitely be to make sure that you have got Google Analytics would be the first one. Make sure that you've got that actually integrated and set up with your website. So do a little test, go on a few different pages and make sure that Google's showing that data. And then you want to set up separately Google Search Console. So it's a different account. Google Analytics allows you to see who's on your site, and Google Search Console allows you to actually communicate directly with Google. So if you upset them, they'll send you a message, and integrate Google Search Console and Google Analytics, because that will give you the absolute kind of most data. And then what I would do is I would actually encourage you to get some external mentions. So, you know, use all the information I've given you from a content perspective, but, you know, the 3 areas of SEO: strategy, keyword research, on page, which we've covered. The final area, the third area, is off page. So you need external signals. You need third parties to validate your claims. And that can be anything from testimonials from customers, mentions in directories. You know, you make sure you've got all of your social properties set up, you know, register all your social properties. That will give you a backlink back from Twitter and Facebook. And you can register your business in directories, online directories, get involved in forum conversations. And probably number 1 tip would be answer some Quora questions. Try and drive some real people back to your site by getting involved in some Q&As on Quora and LinkedIn.
That's definitely enough to get on with there. So yeah, really enjoyed it, Ben. Thanks for your time, and yeah, we'll certainly publish this to the audience and put you guys in touch.
Pleasure.
You know, final question: where's the best place to find you guys and to connect with you guys and your services?
Yeah, just check us out online, geekytech.co.uk. You can catch us on LinkedIn or Instagram. We're trying to get a bit more public on Instagram, so you can see what the team's up to there. There's not a lot of sales stuff on Instagram, but yeah, definitely. And if anyone's got any questions, we're always looking for content for ourselves. So if anyone wants to reach out for some help or advice, happily put some content together or create them a little video, show them what to do.
Fantastic. Thanks a lot, Ben. Take care of yourself, and I'll speak to you soon.
Pleasure. Cheers, James. Take care.
Bye-bye.
Bye-bye.